back with more dating nightmares.
This is why I deleted my Tinder and why every single girl watching this needs to delete her Tinder too. This happened a few years ago.
You heard it here first.
I consider myself so incredibly lucky to be alive after experiencing this. I was living in New York City at the time and I matched with a guy. For the entire time we were talking, he was really aggressively trying to get me to go out with him. And eventually I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna let this guy take me out on a date. And maybe I'm just being judgmental. Maybe he's not being desperate. Maybe he's just putting in an effort. So the day of the date rolls around and he tells me that he wants to take me out to a restaurant that is a bit of a hidden gem and is a little bit outside of the city in an area of Westchester called Yonkers. And even though he offered to drive me, I was like, no, it's all good. I actually had my own car in New York City, so I agreed to meet up with him. Now I feel like an absolute idiot because I didn't even Google this place before I went. So on the night of the date, I'm driving to this place. I put it into my GPS and it's really weird because as soon as I see it in the GPS, it says that the place is closed. So I text my date and I'm like, hey, I just put this place into the GPS and it is telling me that it is actually closed. To which he replies, oh no, don't worry. They're really bad at updating their hours. This is the part where I should have just been like, oh hell no, and I should have canceled the date. But somehow I decided it would be a good idea to get in my car and drive 40 minutes to Yonkers for a date with a guy. So after 40 minutes of driving in traffic, I arrive at this place in Yonkers. I pull up to the building and I quickly realize that there is nobody in the parking lot and that indeed this business is really closed. Not to mention my car is the only car in the parking lot. So I start to panic, and as I look behind me to put my car in reverse, I notice another car pull up. This car pulls up right beside me. I don't even look at the person sitting in the car. I just simply back up out of that parking lot as fast as I can and I get the heck out of there. The entire way home, I am just looking in my rear view mirror to see if there's anyone behind me, and thankfully there was not. And the craziest part of all of this is when I got home, I went back onto that dating app and I could see that the profile had unmatched with me. I never got a chance to screenshot that profile. I never learned the guy's last name, but I can't tell you guys how many times I've heard this happening to girls on dating apps. It's not worth it. Just delete it for your own safety. And if you are going to be on dating apps, please always make sure to get the person's last name and to meet in a place that you are familiar with.
Understandably so, that would be concerning and creepy. If it's like an abandoned business and the parking lot's empty, it's like, no, I'm really getting kidnapped, because a simple Google search shows that it is in fact closed. Weird. I'm surprised, like, what, he never said anything? Like, he just unmatched you? He didn't say anything? Hinge date from hell. I'm locked in my room because my date is really drunk and aggressive. He wouldn't respect my boundaries when I said no to taking things to a physical level. I've never felt so scared in my own space. Okay, sound on.
Oh yeah, baby. Yeah. I just want to lie down next to you. I just need a hug right now. Hurry up. Then please open the door.
You're scaring me. Please go away.
Okay.
Don't open the door.
Can you
Don't
just
open
like,
the door.
I'm just like standing all the way back. Can you just open the door for like 2 minutes?
No. Stop knocking on my door.
I'm not gonna knock. I promise I'm not gonna knock. I promise that.
I want you to not talk to me anymore. Go lay down or leave my house.
Okay, is my phone in your room?
How about just leave my house? Even, hey, you're drunk? I'll get you an Uber. I don't know if this person should be laying in your house for the night.
No, it is not.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me find my phone. I'm gonna set like a 20-minute alarm so I can leave. Okay, just give me 1 second.
Take a 20-minute cat nap. We got a part 2. About an hour later, I got brave enough to venture out of my room. He's passed out on the couch. And he left a present for me in the sink. Oh my god, that's vomit. Oh my god, that's vomit. It looks like, oh my god. It doesn't even look like vomit because it's like pink foam. Anyways, it looks like bubble bath. It's almost worse that he was drunk because he's obviously not in his right state of mind. So you don't know what level his aggression could have gone. because he's not thinking straight, clearly. Yeah, I would have just hopped in a cab at LAX, if you know what I mean.
Okay, so I have to tell you about this terrible first date. Met this guy a month ago. He was our waiter at a Mexican restaurant. He, at the end, gave me a note that said, "You're so beautiful, will you give me your number?" I gave him my number. I'm nothing if not a hopeless romantic. Let's go. So we start texting. His English isn't very good. My Spanish isn't very good. Our Spanglish, we can communicate. He immediately is asking me out. He's putting it in my court. He's like, "What do you want to do? When can I take you out?" So I picked a movie. I figured that was like low risk for a first date for somebody I have never hung out with, and I don't know that we can communicate that well. So I figured that was low risk. So the night before, we've like picked a movie, and I'm like, okay, how about we meet at 7:15 in the lobby? Movie starts at 7:20. He said, okay, great. And then he said, "Are you gonna bring a friend with you?" And I said I wasn't planning on it. Should I? And he said, "Oh no, then it won't just be you and me." And again, I'm like,
Huh?
Okay, maybe we don't speak very well to each other, so maybe this is either a communication issue or a or a cultural difference. I don't know that you bring a chaperone on a first date. I don't know, but odd. I said, so he was like, okay, no, then it'll just be you and me. And I'm like, okay, great, I'll see you tomorrow.
I thought maybe he was like, I got a friend, we could do a double date.
So I text him the next day, on the day of our date. Like, I got there early, and so I was just like, oh, I'm in the lobby, a pink sweater. And he said, okay, I'm running late. And I'm like, okay, fine. Not great for a first date, but okay. He's running late. The movie kind of like starts, and he's like, I'm sorry, I'm running late. And I'm like, it's okay, we probably haven't missed much yet, so it's okay. And he said, okay. And then he said,
not a good start, being late.
Like 12 minutes after the movie is supposed to have started, he said, okay, I'm outside, I'm here. And I'm like, okay, great, see you soon. And he said, are you outside or inside? I'm inside. He said, what do you say that we meet outside? I said, why? It's cold. He said, so that I know where to find you. And I said, I'm the only one in the lobby right now.
Yeah.
And then he didn't text back for a while, and I'm just waiting. And I'm like looking out the glass doors. I'm like, where is this man? What is going on? I'm the only one in the lobby. These high schoolers are probably embarrassed for me that I got stood up to a movie. I don't know. I'm waiting, and he's like, the truth is I can't find you. And I'm like, are you at the movie theater? Are you at the movie theater by the Outback restaurant? And then he says, can you send me your location? No, at this point, I don't think you should have my phone number.
Location, lobby. I'm creeped out.
Part 2 of my bad date story. So we left off. This man's asking for my location. Will you send me your location? I'm in the movie theater lobby. There's one movie theater in this town. There's a couple other small ones, but it's clear that we're not going there. But I'm still over here like, did he go to the right movie theater? Whatever, doesn't matter. He doesn't deserve to have my location. Yikes. So I am still standing in the lobby, just waiting, seeing if he's gonna come in, seeing if we're just having a communication issue. I'm still willing, but now I'm like nervous. I'm nervous. Why do you want me to meet you outside? I don't like that. So finally,
don't go outside.
I've waited too long, and I said, hey, we're missing the movie, so I'm just gonna go home. And he said, no, don't go, like, we can still go, or do you want to go, like, get dinner or something, or do you want to watch a movie at my house? Absolutely not. Another secondary location? No. So then he's like calling me while I'm driving home. I'm already talking shit with my friend, telling them that, hey, I'm safe from the red flag that I almost went on a first date with. Red flag because he was late. I don't make the rules. And so I'm declining these calls. You're not worth my time if you're going to be late to a first date and then not show up and then be weird. What? So then he's like, please give me one more chance. And I'm like, no, thank you. He's like, why? You left. You're angry. And I'm like, yeah, I don't even know if you were at the right theater. And he sent me a picture from his car looking at the theater. And so I said, why didn't you come inside? And he said, the truth is I was driving there. I was late, and that's why. And I'm like, what? I said, you said that you got here at 7:32, which is 12 minutes after the movie's supposed to start.
Is he one of those people who are like, hey, I'm here, and they're not actually there? Or they're like, hey, on my way, and then they leave 30 minutes later? We all have a friend like that. My friend and I joke about it all the time because she's that friend. She's always, when she's on her way, I know she's still at home getting ready.
And 17 minutes after we were supposed to meet. So you're already very late. And then you didn't come inside. I waited for you. You said you were outside at 7:32. I didn't leave until 7:48. That's too much time on my part, honestly. Like, I shouldn't have waited for that long. So instead, I got myself a bucket of popcorn and I asked a 16-year-old behind the counter to walk me to my car because I thought I was going to get kidnapped.
That's smart.
Seriously, I asked a juvenile behind the movie theater counter if they would walk me to my car because my date was being weird and I didn't feel safe, and they looked very weirded out. It was these two young boys. And I was like, now it sounds like I'm going to kidnap you. I understand that, but I'm not going to. I bought a bucket of popcorn. I'm going home. Please walk me to my car. Thankfully, he walked me to my car. I did not get kidnapped. But, like, what?
Those young guys are probably like, why is this woman trying to lure us to her car outside? Very smart though. I respect that. You know, if you ever feel uncomfortable, it goes a long way to just ask for some help. If you feel unsafe or there's a gut feeling about it, that was sketchy behavior. And I'm really happy you saw all the red flags and you didn't give in to any of them. Be like, oh yeah, sure, I'll meet you. Oh, I'm over here at this car. Where's your location? Whoa, pump the brakes.
I think I have the best, worst first date story of all time. Anytime I tell this story to anyone I know, they tell me that it must be a joke, but it is 100% true, and I'm going to share it with you, so buckle up. I have to talk so fast because there's honestly so much to cover. So, a guy that I kind of know already invites me out on a date. I'm like, sure, it's fine. At the time I was single, at the time I was dating men, I'm like, let's go, whatever. Worst case scenario, free meal. He tells me that he will pick me up at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock rolls around and he is nowhere to be seen. 7 o'clock rolls around and bing bang, I hear his truck pull up. He texts me, here. I walk outside of my front door to see him standing like this, leaning up against his truck, waiting for me to walk down my entire driveway and greet him. Uncomfortable. The restaurant we were supposed to go to was a vegan Chinese food restaurant. It was super, super casual. So he told me, dress casual. I'm wearing like jeans and a t-shirt. Him leaning up against his truck, what's he wearing? A suit, a 3-piece suit. He told me he had an important business meeting and he ran late and he didn't have time to change. Super uncomfortable once again. Place that we originally planned to go to ended up not being open, so he forced me on the spot to pick a new restaurant, which fine, maybe he didn't know a place that had vegetarian options because I was a vegetarian. Carrying on, we finally get to the restaurant. We're sitting in the little waiting area, waiting for them to give us a table, and he looks me dead in the eyes and says, what's the worst thing that's ever happened to you? Of course, I opted not to answer that question because I thought maybe we shouldn't unpack that box. On date number 1. Finally sit down at our table and he goes on a tangent about how much he hates vegetarians, which might I remind you, we were going to a vegan restaurant because, surprise, I'm a vegetarian. Finally gets over the topic of hating vegetarians and starts getting on the topic of loving his mom.
If you hate me, just say hello. What? I hate brunettes. Me sitting on the other side of the table. Hello.
He talks about his mom for probably the rest of the date. He is seriously a mama's boy. Halfway through the date, he said that he had to go to the bathroom and I saw him go to the bar to take a shot, which sure, I'll let that one slide because maybe he was really nervous. He wanted to take a shot to take the edge off. But also, you're driving me home, so you shouldn't be at the bar taking shots. Okay. The date is finally coming to an end. I'm like, oh my God, thank God. The server comes over, asks if we're ready for the bill. He tells her to split it.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about the fact that he picked her up and he's driving.
I don't think men should always have to pay, but if you're the one inviting me out on a date, you should be the one to pay the bill. I didn't even get my free meal. I ended up paying for my own freaking bill. You thought I was done. I am not done. At the end of the day, we're sitting in his truck in the parking lot of the restaurant, basically waiting for him to take me home, and he starts singing at me. He tries to force me to sing the Spice Girls when I won't. He sings it at me. Scream sings it at me. He also sang the song I Love It When You Call Me Big Papa, which was so fucking uncomfortable that I actually got to the point where I said, I really want you to take me home now. Then I found out, because he works with my sister, that the next day he went to the office and told everybody it was the best date he's ever been on.
I love it when you call me Big Papa, put your hands in the air. Anyways, I was wondering this whole time she's going on about the story. I'm like, I'm wondering what his side of the story is. Like in his mind. He was like, oh, I was late, but I showed up in a suit. I took her to this restaurant. Like it was a good time. We sang. Like I'm wondering, I'm like, from his point of view, I feel like he would tell the story very differently. We're hopping on hydration station time, everybody. Let me know what's in your cup. It's water in mine. Cheers. Wow, my cheekbones looked fabulous when I did that. That is not real life. That has to be the lighting helping and the bronzer, because who's that? My neighbors. They probably, I swear, everyone on my floor is probably like, oh my God, that's the crazy girl on our floor who just talks to herself for hours a day about weird shit. Because they walk by and they can probably hear everything. And no one's ever responding to me.
So while we're talking about dates, let me tell you guys about the worst first date I ever went on. So this was back when I lived in Dallas, and I used to have a rule like where if a guy didn't offer to pick me up, I wouldn't go. And this guy didn't offer to pick me up, and I almost didn't go, but I went. And so we get to the restaurant that we were eating at, and we ordered a glass of wine. And before our wine even gets there, he asked me how many people I had slept with. So I was like, oh, I have to go use the restroom.
I don't even know you. Like, that is not an appropriate question to ask.
So I go to the bathroom, I call all of my friends, none of them answer. I call my mom, she like talks to me a little bit, but I really wanted advice from my friends. None of them answered, but there was a waitress in the bathroom. And I was like, I need you to just like look at me, hear me out, and give me some advice. I told her what happened, and she was like, honestly, if you don't want to see the guy ever again, you should just leave. So luckily, since I had driven myself, I walked out to my car, got in my car, left the parking garage, blocked his number, never talked to him again. Hopefully this one's better.
Oh my God, girl, you just went ghost town on him. I've seen this debate in comment sections of TikToks where people are like, that's totally a reasonable question to ask because that matters to some people. Whereas other people were like, you don't ask that on a first date, like right when you meet someone. So what do you guys think? If someone asked you that question on a first date, you've never met this person, and they asked you that on a first date, do you think that's a reasonable question? Or is that gonna be like, you crossed a line there?
Get ready with me to know my worst dating story. So,
oh my
I was
God.
about 18, 19.
Her voice, are you kidding me? She sounds like a Disney princess. I could just listen to you talk. I don't even care what it's about. You could literally talk about my ex-boyfriend and I would listen to you because she's a princess, a real life princess.
At the time, I was working in the city, and someone in my office actually set me up with their friend. So we go on this date. It's in London, in Liverpool Street, and we're like, right, we'll just go for cocktails. I actually really fancied this guy, so I was actually kind of nervous, and he was older than me. So we go to this really bougie cocktail bar, and yeah, it was going really well. Like I said, it was bougie. Let me just tell you the lowdown of my outfit. So I was wearing, like, it was in the winter.
Girl, this is outfit matter to the story. I just want the tea. Maybe it has to do with the story, so we'll entertain it.
So I was wearing a turtleneck with like skin tight leggings, and they had like a zip up the front, and I had like really high like boots on. Anyway, at this point, drinks are flowing, the date's going really well. Bearing in mind, I'm like 18, 19. It's like one of the first like proper dates that I've actually gone on where a guy's older than me and I'm actually like kind of liking him. He's got like a really serious job in the city. So yeah, like the pressure was on, but I was having a good time. So I've gone to the toilet and obviously there's a zip up the front of my leggings, gone for a wee. Anyway, as I've gone to do the zip up, my zip has completely broke at the front. And I was wearing a neon thong. Now this is any girl's worst nightmare, but I was thinking, oh my God, how am I gonna go back to this guy when literally the whole of the front, bear in mind the zip was pretty low and went all the way to the top, and I've got neon like a thong on. Obviously, the first thing I'd done was literally ring my mum in the toilet. I was like, what do I do? Like,
yeah,
literally panicking because the zip, there was no way fixing this zip. Like, I just had to accept that it is what it is.
Yeah.
So she was like, you're just going to have to go back in, hold your pants together, and just basically say, I'm going home. Like, this is the situation, and just order an Uber and just say you're going home. So I've walked out into this bar, which by the way, was a Friday night. It was so busy. I just had to face the embarrassment of pink neon knickers on show, walking up this bar, like holding my leggings together so down below was not on show, and go home. And it scarred me for the rest of my life.
Honestly, that is the most light-hearted dating nightmare we've seen in any of these videos. Usually it's like, want to hear why this person almost kidnapped and killed me? Here you go. I think you could have stayed. You know, maybe walk out with your arms crossed, but then when you sit down, you could put your purse there, you could put your napkin. I don't know, I'm just thinking about the food.
Okay, so have I got a story for you guys? I went on a dinner date today. I was talking to this guy,
Nice.
and
I know a McFlurry when I see one.
you know, the conversation over text was great. You know, we talked on the phone a couple times and it was great. And I finally said, okay, fine, let's meet up. So we did. And he takes me to this place that I don't think was really a first date kind of restaurant. Also, let me just tell you this.
Okay.
He doesn't have a car. He lives in downtown Toronto, and he's like, he has no need for a car because everything's so accessible. Okay, great. So because he's, you know, he's taking me to this place, I said, okay, you know what? I'll just come pick you up. Not a big deal. So I pick him up. We go to this restaurant. It's located in Scarborough.
Oh.
It's like
Okay.
West Indies style kind of food, which is okay, fine. So I'm the type of person that anytime I go out to eat with friends or whatever, I tend to order quite a bit of food. It wasn't just individual, like it wasn't just, you know, when you order a dish and it's just an individual dish for you, like with your meat, veggies, whatever else. Well, this is the type of restaurant where you get rice, or fried rice, I mean, and whatever other things you want to get to go with the fried rice. So that's what he did, and he was just like thinking, oh, I'm going to get this and this, and he's like, what are you going to have? So I proceed to order a whole bunch of different items from the menu.
Okay.
And he just kind of had this look on his face like this. So I was like, okay, whatever. I knew that I wasn't going to eat it, but that's just the type of person I am, where I order a whole bunch of stuff from the menu, and whatever, whoever wants to pack it up, pack it up. I knew that I was going to pay for it because, hey, I ordered it. So the server comes around and, you know, she's asking if everything good, are we okay? And then she's like, I said, oh, I'll take the bill.
Okay. I respect that you're ordering a bunch of food and you're like, no, like, I know that I would pay for that.
Because he wasn't saying anything. Like, she was waiting for us to mention something about the bill, and
God.
he didn't say anything, but because, whatever, he's probably thinking, well, no, you ordered a whole bunch of stuff, so you should fucking pay for it. I mean, he didn't say that, but the look that he gave me. So fine, I get the bill, and he was supposed to take me bowling after, and there was no way I was going bowling after that. So I take him back home, I make up an excuse saying, oh, my stomach's not well. Great, whatever. Also, let me just tell you this. The whole time, he didn't even open the door for me. Like, are you fucking kidding me? And because this date upset me, I'm not one to eat ice cream, but I had to go to McDonald's to get a McFlurry. This is how well that date went. So, never again, I'll tell you this. Like, if you can't even open the door for me, or open my car door, and don't offer to pay the bill, like, what?
I mean, it kind of feels like you asked him on the first date. You picked him up, you paid for the bill, you dropped him off after. Like, he freaking won. He's probably like, yo, I just had the best date of my life. She picked me up, paid for my whole meal, and I got a ride home after. Sick. Stay classy out there. Stay safe if you're out there on these dating apps, and stay sassy. I'll see you tomorrow.